In this lesson, we'll learn about the nonlinear bend deformer. The bend deformer is straightforward. It will add bend deformations to the object or objects we apply it to. In this case, it might be a good idea to add the bend deformer to this antenna for follow-through and overlapping animation. So we'll want to select the object to apply the bend to, and then we can head over to Create Deformers, Nonlinear, and we'll find it right at the top. Let's go ahead and take a look at the options. So we'll find our low and high bounds, which control the upper and lower extents of the bend deformer. And then the curvature parameter, this is used to actually control the bend. Let's say we go ahead and create it. You can see this line is now added to the scene. With it selected, now we can go ahead and use the bend node under inputs to start to add some curvature to our antenna. So notice by selecting the bend node, we are given access to those same settings that we saw in our option box. However, we also see that there's a new one added, our envelope channel, and this is what regulates how much control the bend deformer has over the object it's been added to. So for instance, if we were to increase our curvature, simply select the curvature channel, start to use the middle mouse button to add some bending, we can now start to decrease the amount of curvature we have by using the envelope channel. Right now it's set to 1, meaning 100%, but as we start to drop that down, we start to remove that bend result. So by setting this to 0, meaning we have no control at all, as we start to move that curvature, nothing will happen. Let's go ahead and bring the envelope back to 1. Now apart from that, we also have the low and high bounds. Again, that will control the lower and upper extent of the bend deformer. Let's say we go ahead and put this to practical use. I'll set the high bound back to 1 and the low bound to -1. I'll set the curvature back to 0. What we want to do first is rotate the bend deformer in place so that it follows the angle of the mesh so we get more accurate bending. So I'll go to the rotate tool, just rotate this back. Okay, so now that that's done, we can go ahead and increase the curvature just to get an idea of the changes we need to make to the low and high bound for better bend. I'd say for the low bound, we can actually zero that out. We won't want that base to bend at all. That should stay stuck. As far as the high bound, we may want to increase that just a little bit more, maybe to about a value of 2. So the bend looks okay. We also have the freedom to transform this bend object by simply selecting it, going to our Move tool, and now in Object mode, which we can get to by holding down the W key and the left mouse button and choosing Object, we can now start to bring this down in the Y-axis, and notice we're getting a much better bend now in the antenna, something we'd expect. Okay, so at this point, now we can freely go in and start to animate the curvature channel for some follow-through and overlapping. Now you'd probably want the bend deformer to follow with everything else. Notice if we were to take our antenna and start to move that, and then take the bend deformer and start to increase the curvature, you'll notice this weird distortion, this offset. So what we can do in this case is simply take the bend deformer and have that parented to the base, and also do the same for our antenna. So we can start with the antenna. With that selected, I'll shift select the base and press the P key. Now at this point, with the mesh still selected, notice we can also access the bend node from here. So we can go ahead and increase our curvature just so we can get in and select the bend deformer and parent it to the base. And now, as we select the base and start to move that, everything will follow. So in this lesson, we've learned about the bend deformer, which is a great node to use for let's say an antenna.